What's up guys, it's Tube and welcome back to a breakdown video. So we got Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl announced, of course, but we got another game announced as well. And I feel like the purpose of this game is just to ease in and show us that they're putting their full force into Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but they want to show us that, listen, we can still do these massive graphics. Now, some Chinese leaker actually leaked Pokemon Legends Arceus like 40 minutes before the presentation, and I was looking at them because you couldn't escape them. I'll show you the leaks itself. I think it's fun if you guys look at the leaks, and then we'll talk about the game. The game itself seems pretty interesting. It's a story about ancient Sinnoh, and your main character is, I guess, implied to be an ancestor to Dawn or Lucas and looks a similar way. And instead of the focus being about Dialga and Palkia, the focus is literally about Arceus, who they bring the lore into the trailer that he is the creator of everything in the universe, and there is a reason that he's associated with these games. The first thing is that it's cool that they're associating Arceus. Those event-only legendaries never get any love, but Arceus, being the top of the hierarchy, is finally getting some love. So I'll start off with some of these leaks. So this is... it's kind of crazy that this is the deal. When I originally saw this, I thought this was Diamond Pro remakes, and I thought it was gonna be in the fashion of Sword and Shield. So it's just a Chinese leaker. These are the Chinese logos, if I'm not mistaken. And see, it's the exact games. It looks like Sword and Shield graphics. There you can see that's Lucas, and you can see Garchomp is attacking Glade in the overworld. Oh, and then that Breath of the Wild. It just goes to show you they can make the graphics if they want. So here you go. The translation of that Japanese text is: the latest work in the Pokemon series, Legend of Pokemon, will debut on Nintendo Switch in early 2022. A new challenge in the It's Up series. I don't know what that means, but the title Pokemon Legends Arceus, one of the beta titles was Legends of Arceus, but the title Pokemon Legends Arceus feels like one of many titles. It feels like many years from now when we get a Unova remix. Let's not even go there, man. Let's enjoy our Sinnoh remake time. Do not jump on the Unova remake bandwagon. It feels like during that time we'll get Pokemon Legends Kyurem, or maybe in the time between we'll get Pokemon Legends Mew. All sorts of things. They just created another possibly mainline series game. The main games, we got the remakes, which are tightly together. Then we have the Let's Go series as a third one. Now we're gonna have the Legend series potentially, and I think that's pretty cool because the graphics look cool. And as they showed in game, there is actual fighting. So like, I can't even figure out what the big difference between the games would be. Maybe the fighting isn't that important, but it seems like there would be a whole story to the game. You would start your journey. You're getting these three ancient starters that are from different regions, but they were all brought to Sinnoh, and you would play an actual Pokemon journey, and it's coming out in 2022. Seems like it's actually getting its own attention and love. Some other stuff the Chinese leaker showed. So see, this is stuff that wasn't in the trailer as far as I can remember. So you see a Rhydon in the overworld, and when I originally saw these and I thought these were the Sinnoh remake graphics, there's something about the saturation of the graphics that just stuck so well with me, because you know the game is not very well saturated, which kind of messes up the way 3D Pokemon look to start with, but the overworld is so saturated that I was really digging it. It gave this kind of vintage vibe to the overworld on top of what Sword and Shield gave. And then you've got a health bar here for some kind of boss. I don't know what Pokemon that is. And then you've got your other menu icons here. Look, you even got the plus. It's like, check the stats and abilities of your Pokemon. There's a couple other things that are odd, like it looks like I'm in the overworld, but I assume Garchomp's health is showing and it says A and B, so it's like I can maybe attack a Pokemon in the overworld. It's confusing because there's also a battle screen, and then there's one part of the trailer where they show a Garchomp just sucker punching me for no reason, so it's really weird. Here's some more stuff. So on the left he's doing his little dive spin, which is cool that in the overworld the character is able to do that little flip. I mean, it's a Pokemon game, you never thought they could do that. You can crouch in the grass like you could in Auraz. And then there's this thing where the game goes into silhouette mode. So here, I don't know what this is. It's like we're riding a Pokemon, but the Pokemon is silhouetted. And then here I'm climbing a mountain and the camera angle goes into the silhouetted view. It really looks like Breath of the Wild, this entire overlay. Looks like I can send out my parachute with these buttons here. And then there's a Pokemon here. Looks like I'm latching on and flying on a Pokemon. And last bit of graphics. Oh my god. Oh wow. This is crazy. So I had this picture like 40 minutes to an hour before the stream. Much longer before, actually, like an hour and a half. And I was paying so much attention to all the other screenshots that I didn't realize it literally says Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl right here, just in Chinese. So I would never know. I didn't realize it showed 3 logos. There were people in the world leaking that these were the names of the games. That's enough anyway. Let me show you guys the actual trailer. So the beginning part of the trailer, all this stuff isn't actually gameplay, but this Even the background music, that is Breath of the Wild ambience. They took full gameplay footage, not final. This is actually the gameplay. Look at the world, the skies, the trees. Someone give me an expert on the trees. Let's see if there's a problem with that. The Bidoofs, you see the shading on the Bidoofs because the sun is coming down. It looks so good. Whoo, the sounds of running. This has all the little things in Breath of the Wild that make it just fun to spend a couple hours each day playing. I really wonder if it's like a Zelda approach, open world. Listen to that cello. That is ambience. This is that dive. And then you're throwing Pokeballs. It's like you can catch Pokemon like that in the overworld. Now, one of the premises of the game, they said, is completing the dex. So I would assume finding the 150 or whatever Pokemon there are in Sinnoh. And then eventually at the end, you would come across Arceus. That would be the idea. Look, he just sucker punches you. I guess that would imply other stuff like maybe Darkrai would be found somewhere in the game. Ah, that frame rate. Here's Chimchar. So Chimchar is not one of the three starters the professor's gonna give you. The starters you get are Cyndaquil, Rowlet, and Oshawott. And I think they specifically went with these because these are gonna be the only 3 Pokemon that are non-Sinnoh that are gonna be in this. So I don't know what's up with this, but this Lucario just close combated the Staraptor. I don't know if we enter the battle screen or if you just attack them in the overworld if you want. God, this looks good. This looks good. These kind of matted but saturated colors are what I wanted in Sword and Shield graphics. It's cool. Evil, mysterious theme for Arceus, but at the same time, if you could notice, that's Arceus' theme from Diamond and Pearl playing in the background. The game is being developed by Gamefreak, but I do want to reiterate that this is not going to be their main series games. Like, it seems flipped this time around, that this game looks like it's more intensive and how much work has to go in, and Brilliant Diamond and Pearl just looks like the let's go, but it's flipped. This is their side hustle. The Diamond and Pearl remix are their real games. So try to give those games the most attention and see how you feel about the chibi graphics on those. Try to let it grow onto you. If you don't like them, I'm not gonna convince you. But if you find you like them over time, you'll enjoy the remix a lot more. You know, after making the analysis on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I'm really starting to actually not be able to tell which their main game is. Since Masuda is directing Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but it's being developed by another company, this game seems more focused and created by Game Freak. So I can't back up the statement that more soul is going into one or the other. It seems like they're putting their full force into both of these games. Hey, wow. What? Is this a joke? First came Sinnoh remakes, then came Sinnoh premakes. When did all the companies turn into meme providers? So yes, this is Sinnoh premakes. You're playing as the character that would uncover the Sinnoh Pokedex and in the future lead up to Professor Rowan giving you your Pokedex. I feel like in a sense it would be canon as an actual prequel to the Sinnoh games, because it's not like much is going to overlap anyway. There's not going to be stuff to disprove one or the other. But yeah, there isn't too much shown in the trailer, so we won't expand unnecessarily. But some other cool things could be, just to quickly say, for Shaman and Darkrai. We find this new place for Shaman, flowers everywhere. We have this dark arc with Darkrai in a dark place. With Dialga and Palkia, maybe if this Breath of the Wild feel, we end up going to space somewhere, and that's where you find Dialga and Palkia, just one little space area. And then eventually Arceus would come down as the final boss of the game. Everything would lead up to that. Your team, you'd probably have to beat him. I can imagine like a Palkia standing there, he's a boss, you're gonna lose a couple times trying to beat him. But my biggest thing in this is I hope there's a story. This is like the engine to a really beautiful game. If there's a story and you're playing it wanting to learn more of the story, that'll make a huge difference. If the game starts off and the professor just says, pick a starter, now go find all the Pokemon, and that's the next 100 hours of content, me just finding all the Pokemon with no more story popping up, that'll be a huge problem. So I hope the story develops and we actually get fun Sinnoh lore. In the trailer, they mention Arceus created the world from scratch.
Now for the mythical Pokemon that graces the game's title and story.
Do not call them
Arceus.
mythical.
According to legend, Arceus shaped all there is in this world. But how is this Pokemon connected to your journey?
So it has to come full circle back to that point, and that's what I hope. Anyhow, I have a video about Mega Evolution and Diamond Pro Remix, which I think is going to be super hopeful. I think there's a clear hint and possibility it won't be Dynamax in this game. But I have a video about that coming in a few hours. So shank that like button, let me know your thoughts on this. See you on the next video. Take care.
This the sound of my alchemy, the greatest success for all those who fell for me. I always respect the friends who wish well for me, and live until the end and die, all time will tell for me. But I ain't going anywhere, believe me.